Celebrating the strength of our warriors, because not only do they live with ambition, yes, well, they get up and fight every day for health equalities, to be treated right in your hospital bed, for access to services, to be heard. You know, it not just people with the condition, but people like my mum and Neville, they actually fight for the cause, they fought for the cause and continue that fight. So today is really about really celebrating warriors, and Cause President has single-handedly put today together. So I just want to put that out there for now.
It wasn't single-handed. I did have help. We've got volunteers, and of course, Sakapti, our chair, did a lot as well. But yeah, it's an honour to do what I do. I usually have a long presentation, but I'm not going to do that today because I'm tired. So I've just typed up stuff that I'm going to share with you guys. And basically, today is all about honouring Neville. It's 10 years since Neville passed. I want to say thank you first of all to Marvelyn and Donna's for being in our company, in our presence. You know, having them always with us, you know, energizes us to keep doing what we do, because these are the people that Neville loved, that were closest to him. And if they're with us, it gives us the energy to know that we are doing what Neville wanted us to do. You know, so whilst we stand on his shoulders, you know, we share what we do with his family. Dr. Neville Roy Clare, 1946 to 2015. So Neville was a pioneering advocate. He was an academic and a researcher in the field of sickle cell anemia. Neville was born in Jamaica. Neville Clare was finally diagnosed with sickle cell anemia in 1967. Before then, his parents didn't know the cause of his frequent attacks of debilitating pain and hospitalizations. Finally, frustrated from the lack of knowledge surrounding the condition, he founded the Organization of Sickle Cell Anemia Research, otherwise known as OSCAR. This started in 1973. This was the first voluntary organization dedicated to the sickle cell advocacy and research in the UK and Europe. Initially operating from small offices shared in Wood Green, North London, OSCAR soon became the first charity dedicated to support in advancements for the well-being of sickle cell affected, and was officially registered as such in 1975. So throughout the 1970s and 80s, OSCAR expanded beyond London. So although you began in London, in Haringey, in this town of Haringey, he started establishing branches, and they went as far as Birmingham, Reading, Leicester, Nottingham, Bristol, Sandwell and Croydon. So it wasn't just a little thing, it was expansive. His tireless efforts were instrumental in creating a strong support network for individuals living with the sickle cell disorders. In the early 1980s, Dr. Clare also founded the Haringey, or co-founded the Haringey Sickle Cell Support Group alongside nurse Susan Treasure. It's very apt, like her name is Susan Treasure, and we say Treasure by name, Treasure by nature. She was one of our ward nurses, and she also worked in the community, but she was, one of them old school, loving nurses that was a nurse because she cared, one of them true nurses. Like Jeanette, sitting there. Okay, let me get back to this. Right, so their collaboration provided much needed support and advocacy for individuals living with this debilitating disorder. Nurse Susan was especially affiliated with the hands-on support of the children. She really loved the children, and her heart went out. I remember her doing things outside of work for the sickle cell children. It's like she just You know, that was where her care was for the children. Right, their efforts culminated in the establishment of this, the George Mars Sickle Cell and Thalassemia Centre. Without them, it wouldn't have been a twinkle in anybody's eye that we needed a centre. You know, and we're based here in St Anne's Hospital, and it's a landmark achievement in providing specialist support and care. When it first started, it was the hub. Everybody came, doctors, nurses, researchers, people with sickle cell, the schools, everybody came here to learn about what sickle cell is, you know, and to get taught. So it was also educational. It wasn't just a community hub, it was also an educational spot. So Dr. Clare's academic achievements further bolstered his advocacy, and he earned his PhD in health education and used his lived experience to educate healthcare professionals and the public about sickle cell anemia. His work emphasized the importance of proper medical care, social support, and a better understanding of the condition. Before this, it was unheard of for a patient to be advising the medical profession. And he always maintained, and I always say it now, the adult sickle cell patient is the expert in the room. Now, people might say, oh, you're not an expert because you're not a doctor. But I mean, like, how else would they know how we're actually feeling, you know? Or how we felt the day before, or which part of our body failed to work 2 days ago, or 6 weeks prior. You know, sometimes our doctors see us at our worst, when we're in full crisis, you know, and cannot speak for ourselves. But most times they see us at an appointed time, you know, when we're well enough to actually go to that appointment. So it's not always the doctor. The doctor doesn't always see us at our worst, you know, because sometimes you're so ill that you can't get up or get out to go to the doctors, and that care takes place at home. And then when you're strong enough, then you go to the hospital. Sometimes you've got an ambulance come and take you to the hospital. There's different scenarios. That's why he said that the adult sickle cell patient is the expert in the room, you know. Because every adult sickle cell symptom is unique. None of us are the same, and so to this day I still use the same motto that he used. The adult sickle cell patient is the expert in the room. Anyway, you know, that takes me back, because I can remember him saying, I'm picturing him saying it, and it's sort of like, you know, touching a bit. But anyway, in later years, Dr. Clare founded another organisation, which he called Sickle Watch, and he mentored emerging community support advocates, leaders, and fellow sickle cell patients and advocates, including myself. Neville actively encouraged me to establish this nationwide support network, meaning sickle cell cause, and using the grassroots, outspoken ideas and actions I would express when I was much younger. Well, not so much younger, because I was still at school. Anyway, so I definitely credit Neville's guidance and inspiration as a foundational to my sickle cell advocacy work. Now, I met Neville when I was 12 years old, when I was a child, and his actions inspired me from that very early age. If there's time anyway, I'll share with you a bit later when we're talking about warrior stories, but I'm not on the list for that. But if there's time, I'll share how I met Neville. Anyway, so Sickle Cell Cause is a revamp of Neville's original work. So we honour his legacy as a gift to all those affected or interested in all the areas of sickle cell anemia, in the condition, research, whatever. However, I must share though, I was unaware at the time that Neville spent his final year of life encouraging me and advising me. That I had been his mentee for many years, but the last 6 months of his life, and every Sunday at 4 p.m, we would speak on the phone for about 30 minutes. Neville was a stickler for time. He was very strict. I was only ever late once, and that didn't happen again. He was quiet. He was a gentleman, but you know, you knew who to respect. You don't need to be bellowing and shouting and screaming to receive respect. And I knew not to be late again. So I valued the 30-minute weekly slots because it was here I could really ask my questions. Neville was eager for me to start a new group, even when I didn't think, you know, I could do it myself. He saw something in me and encouraged me to stick to the outspoken values that I had in order to find the answers and to lay down the foundations to establish a nationwide, honest, unafraid, updated sickle cell support network that would align with the many initiatives, ideas, and my hidden talent for writing, not that you will know it at this moment, that had been developing in the sickle cell community since 1997. Neville continued as our group's advisor, and he was present at our first official meeting with our original committee members, which included Satapti here, when our constitution was written, confirmed and signed, and we became the Sickle Cell Care Advocacy Unity Support with Empathy Group, otherwise known as SC Cause or the Sickle Cell Cause. So he is responsible for this very group being born. So whilst I will always treasure the time Neville devoted to me during those last 6 months of his life, his inspiration especially guided me up until his passing. So this group, the Sickle Cell Cause, remains dedicated to ensuring Neville's name and his legacy are remembered and valued throughout the sickle cell community, recognising him as one of the UK's unsung heroes of this era. So Dr. Neville Roy Clare, 1946 to 2015, I've got some information on it, was the pioneering figure in the field of sickle cell anemia advocacy and research. He was born in 1946. He became a central figure in raising community awareness, educating medics and advocates, and providing support for individuals affected by the sickle cell conditions in Europe and the UK, particularly here in North London. His key contributions were sickle cell advocacy. Dr. Clare himself was a patient living with sickle cell anemia, which deeply informed his advocacy and outreach efforts. He co-founded Enfield Haringey and Barnet Sickle Cell Support Groups, which we called HEB for short, and in the 1980s, alongside Susan Treasure, their collaboration was instrumental in creating a strong support system for individuals living with sickle cell conditions, and together they were pivotal, you know the word I'm saying, in establishing the Sickle Cell and Thalassemia Centre, which was officially opened in '89. The build was completed in '87, but it was officially opened in '89. Then we have Oscar. Dr. Clare research founded and was actively involved with the Organisation of Sickle Cell Anemia Research, the first support group in Europe dedicated to research and advocacy. Oscar played a significant role in pushing for newborn screening for all sickle cell anemia in the UK. So without his work, it's his organisation that brought the screening to newborn babies, so all babies were being tested. And that was implemented in 2003. His educational impact. Dr. Clare used his academic achievements and lived experience to educate the professionals, and the public about sickle cell anemia. His work emphasised the need for proper medical care, social support, and a better understanding of the condition. And we've got his legacy. Dr. Clare passed away in 2015, but his legacy lives on through his programs, research, and support systems he helped establish. His contributions have had a lasting impact on the sickle cell community, ensuring that patients have access to better care and understanding of their condition. So Dr. Neville Roy Clare is remembered as a trailblazer in the fight against all areas of sickle cell and a powerful advocate for those living with a challenging condition, leaving a profound legacy of the first gentleman of sickle cell warrior. Sorry, the first gentleman warrior of sickle cell advocacy and support in the UK. Finally, for now, just want to mention his book, which is there. I don't know if you can show it, sorry. Every Monday, no, not every Monday, every second Monday of the month, we host what we call, our book club. It's a very popular book club, and we're currently reading his autobiography, An Oscar for My Troubles, which was written by him himself. And Neville is survived, as I said, by his loving wife, Marvelyn, and stepdaughter, Donis, who have continued to support the sickle cell cause. And as well as hosting our book club, so they actually host the book clubs for us. Since 2016, they have hosted our annual Dr. Neville Clare Oscar Award ceremony alongside our ambassador, Judith Jacob. This is our group's prestigious event recognising individuals dedicated to improving the lives of sickle cell anemia. So for now, I'm just going to end here for now and introduce you both to Marvelyn and Donis, who's going to take the next part of this, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so thank you.